the program, everyone. This is Politics Spotlight. In line with the directive of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria that member churches should set up the Directorate of Politics and Governance in all their branches to be headed by the Church Officer of Politics as the country marches towards the 2023 general election. These directives were meant to galvanize and mobilize Christians who had hitherto seen politics as a dirty and sinful game, has generated a lot of controversy. However, the leadership of Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria has maintained that the creation of DPG was not meant for a particular political candidature, rather a means for the church leadership in Nigeria to step into practical politics, relevant and impact to salvage Nigeria from disintegration in time like this. On Politics Spotlight today, we want to examine the role of the church in governance. And with me today is a former Deputy Speaker of Oyo State House of Assembly and the pioneering National Director of Directorate of Politics and Governance. He is also the General Overseer, Living Spring Chapel International, Honorable or Pastor Femi Emmanuel. And I'm additional for Laniwaju. The show begins in a moment. Perhaps you're just joining us. This is Politics Spotlight, and on this episode we are examining the role of the church in governance. And in the studio today with me is the pioneering National Director of Directorate of Politics and Governance of the PFN, Pastor Femi Emmanuel. He's also the General Overseer of the Living Spring Chapel International. And welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
How was the journey from your base to this place?
Pleasant, good.
All right, let's kickstart. What brought about Directorate of Politics and Governance?
The Directorate of Politics and Governance is a product of the vision that God gave the present president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, which has also been a burden and a passion for me. So DPG is an offshoot of PFN. I want that to be well established. And what is DPG? It's an effort for the Christian community's inclusion in the way Nigeria is governed. Next to God's power is political power. And political power is people giving. So if God has given the church in Nigeria massive followership, then God has answered our prayers. That's why I kept telling the Christian body that we have prayed for this country, for God to take control, for God to intervene, and God has answered us. He answered us by giving us massive membership following. All you then need to do is to orientate these members, organize them, mobilize them, equip them to be involved in the issues of their countries. Largely, Christians have been very apolitical. We felt ours is to pray, win soul, establish them, prepare the bride for the bridegroom that is coming, forgetting that we have a life to live before the heaven to gain. But the understanding has now come that except we are involved, the environment to even prepare the bride, build the church, and preach the gospel will not be there, as we have seen it. So DPG is a vision of the PFN that Nigeria should not, the Christian community should not be aloof. We should be involved. I say to people, Matthew chapter 5 verse 13, it says, ye are the salt of this earth. Now, how does the salt operate? The salt does not stay there on the shelf to change the character of what you are cooking. The salt gets involved and then changes the flavor. We are to flavor this generation, but not by staying aloof, not by being apolitical, not by being unconcerned, but by getting involved, not to soil our character or our name, but to bring out the Christian value into Nigerian politics. I said the other time, I said next to God's power is political power. God has given you people, then he has given you power. So let the people get involved and take the power. But getting involved is not just voting. Maybe we are still coming to that. Getting involved is getting involved at the grassroots, because political power is at the grassroots.
All right, political power is at the grassroots. Now let's talk about the issue of the controversies, you know, on the issue of one of these spiritual denominations,
yes,
who just created
yes,
the DPG,
yes,
and there was this uproar,
yes,
that it was created for a particular candidature, and there are many people in that denomination who are vying for one political offices or the other. What's your take, and what's the stand of your directorate?
It's not just my take. I can explain what happened, because I was not just a part of it, I was the genesis of it. By the grace of God, before I came to become the national director of the Directorate of Politics and Governance of the PFN, it used to be called SSO, Social Security Outreach. But with my own knowledge, involvement in politics, God gave me the grace in 1990, 91, 92 to have gone into politics. And I was not selected, I was not appointed. I came to the grassroots politics. I got involved in the ward politics and became ward officers, owned the ward chairman in my constituency, and so I came up. So I know what Nigerian political or Nigerian democracy is all about. So we changed from SSO to DPG. If what the church is interested in is getting involved in the political equation or chemistry of this country, then let's call it by its name. So we now came up with the Directorate of Politics and Governance. And the way it works is that every church organization must inaugurate or establish that organ in their organization. So I spent time with our revered father in the Lord, Daddy Gio. I was with him for hours, together with Bishop Wale Oke, who is the president of Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. I met with Daddy 2-3 times, and we were able to explain. You know, I wrote a book that is circulating. Daddy also have the book, read it.
And you can just give a brief or a summary of the book.
I will. This book, you know, before I came to become a director of politics, it has been my passion, a burden, in fact, a vision. You know, God took Moses to the palace of Pharaoh to be raised as a prince. You know the story of Moses. He was born at a time when there was a decree that every male Hebrew boy should be killed. Jacob, his mother, kept him for 3 months. He couldn't keep him again, so he took him to the river, and of course you know the story. Moses ended up growing in the palace to understand the practice, the setting of Egypt. And God eventually brought him back to deliver his people. I just saw that is what God did for me. And that is what created the burden. Why did I go into politics when I went? Contrary to every advice of church fathers then, I went, so God took me to politics to understand how Nigerian political situation works. And I just saw that, oh, this was why I went. Why don't I enlighten my Christian brothers? So I wrote this book, and I'll commend it to everybody. We printed it, you see, not for sale. We have printed millions and millions of copies circulating around the country. When you read this book, you will have very little question to ask, before it chronicles the nitty-gritty of how Nigerian political situation works. In Nigeria, democracy is only on paper. It doesn't. Democracy is supposed to be government of the people, by the people, for the people. In Nigeria, it is not so. It is government of the rich, making use of the poor and the illiterate at the world level to get power for themselves and rule perpetually. So I wrote how the church must wake up and be involved at the grassroots politics, and then become the world executive. See, the most important aspect of our democracy are the delegates. Right now, the two main political parties are struggling to have their national conference.
I'm going to come in through that now.
But what is important there is delegates. So except the church is the one producing the delegates that will select who the public will vote for. The church is at the back of the fence.
Okay, there is a particular party now.
Yeah.
I'm on here, so there's a particular party during the last primaries in one of the states in Nigeria. The aspirants contested, about 3 of them, they contested for the seat of the Senate, and it was recorded, or it was reported that one of them gave delegate 2 million, another gave 2.5, another gave 4.5 to each delegate.
I'm coming.
Now the one who gave delegate 4.5 each won the election.
Yes.
How can this, because you said now that politics is all about delegate, which means that the delegate are the one who can shape the story, who can change the sanity that is lost in the Nigerian politics.
The delegates are those who determine the candidate to vote for. And I'm coming to that. Let me just conclude what I was saying the other time. So the DPG, you were referring to a church, then you were referring to RCCG. Wasn't their own making? I said we met Daddy, GO. So it is our explanation that convinced them that every church organization should establish a DPG, which they did. And then they sent a memo to their parishes, which leaked into the press, and there was this mischief. Every other church organization must do the same. Right as I speak to you now, Foursquare Gospel Church has established and appointed their own national DPG. TREM has done so. Deeper Life is working on their own. Chosen is working. We are waiting for Gospel Faith Mission. We are waiting for Assemblies of God. We are waiting for key churches that has national spread. Because politics is about people. It's about population. It's about spread. Then I come to the question. Now, I said except the church is the one producing delegates, Nigeria will still continue to be what Nigeria is. If we vote 100 times, nothing will change. Because the delegates, those are the ward officers that will gather at the national congress of the party to select who the public will vote for, has been corrupted, has been hijacked. They are the people that the political warlords. You know, in Nigeria, politics is an enterprise. I call them political entrepreneur. They own the party. And they are the one that put the delegates there. If you participate, if you attend the ward party of any of the political parties, you will weep for this country. Because they are made up of the poor, illiterate, miscreants, people who can hardly afford anything. The politicians, they are the political godfathers. They put them there for themselves, and they are well organized. They have their coordinators from ward to constituency. They put people there and they fund them. So they tell them who to vote for. They bring their list to them. All this consensus that we hear is imposition. They bring the list of who they want to be delegates, the people who will do their bidding. Don't you see them? When they go to do their congresses in the stadium, they even show uniform for them. Camp them in an hotel and march them like goats to put the vote for the person they want to be there. Either themselves, you see them put themselves. Look at the present presidential candidates, those that are bringing themselves up to be presidential candidate. It's either they are the owner of the party or their wives, their cronies. You can never get credible candidate to vote for, except the church will wake up and be the one that will produce the delegates. You and I will not take 10 naira, 1,000, 2,000 from anybody. So at the last election, I was saying in one of my video posts, at the last election, 2019, delegates were given, many delegates, some parties, some candidates gave delegates $5,000, $6,000. They have started again. And you just said now, the highest bidder gets the candidate. We can't afford to continue that way. And it will continue that way until light shines in darkness. The Bible says the light shines in darkness, the darkness cannot comprehend it. The church is the light. As long as the church stays away from politics, if you vote 100 times, you are going to be voting the same people. The same people who have stolen the country blind. I mean, a prospective candidate is to obtain fund for 100 million. 100 million, 40 million. And that is just a tip of the iceberg. You just spoke about the delegate now. The money to buy each delegate. Because you either own them or you buy them from the owner.
Yes.
And that's what they call collaboration. You have to pay the owner that gathered them as if you are selling chicken. That is how Nigeria is run. Except good people, which are church people, and of course some other patriotic Nigerians, will come to be involved. We must bind ourselves as a caucus, and that's another thing. Political parties are in caucuses. As you see them meet at the world meeting or their local government setting, they are in caucuses. Each of the caucuses sent there by the political godfather that wants to hijack the power. The power is at the grassroots. And that is one lesson, that is one thing I've been trying to let the church know. I have seen many general overseers, I've had general overseers, gatekeepers, fathers in the Lord, asking people to go and register for their PVC to vote on the voting day and vote out the corrupt politicians. You can't vote out the corrupt politicians because there is no credible candidate you are voting for. It is between the two principal parties, it is either vote for a kidnapper or vote for an armed robber, either of the two. But there is no credible candidate. Credible candidate, those who love Nigeria, those that are capable, those that can save Nigeria can never emerge. The platform for them to emerge is not there. That is the platform DPG wants to create, so that credible people can emerge.
That is the platform DPG want to create. We are going to go on a short break now, but I'm going to tell you, if we allow, if our political life are populated by religious ideologies, don't you think they will replace the constitution with spiritual texts? When we come back, you come and do justice to that. The show still continue in a moment. Stay tuned. Spotlight, and in the studio with me is still the pioneering national director at the Directorate of Politics and Governance, and of course the general overseer at Living Spring Chapel International, Pastor Femi Emmanuel. Before we go on that short break, I was talking about our political life.
Yes.
If you allow spiritual bygones, so to say, to take charge, don't you think they are going to turn our political life to biblical text?
The reality of Nigeria is that you cannot remove religion and ethnicity from Nigeria. It is so ingrained in our life. Nigeria is said to be one of the most religious countries in the world. And there are two dominant religious faiths in Nigeria, Islam and Christianity. But Islam has dominated the space for a long time because, you see, whoever told the church, whoever sold the doctrine of the separation of church and state for Nigeria killed the church. That was where the church missed it. Because in church we are told there must be a complete separation between the church and state. Face the church, win soul, leave politics for politicians. But the other faith combines the two. In the other faith, the religious leader is also the political leader. So in the other faith, political power, governmental power is needed to enforce that religion. That is where we have problem. I tell you, look at CAN and the Muslim Association. In our CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria, the CAN head is changed every 2 years. If he stays long, he will do 4 years. But you know that the Sultan has always been Sultan, has always remained there. That is just by the way. So you can't remove religion and ethnicity from this country. What we should do is to manage it. We have left everything for the other faith. Can you take a look at our constitution? Our constitution is nothing but jihadist. Our constitution is nothing but Islamic. I mean, somebody was reading a clause, the former governor of Zamfara. He was being accused of marrying a minor, 13-year-old. And he said, look, that's what his religion says. Religion says once you are married, your age is irrelevant. And that Nigerian constitution says nobody must bring any bill that contradicts Islam. Read your constitution, the word Islam and Muslim mentioned several times, more than 80 times. You won't find a word about church or Christ or Christianity. You won't find it. Everything is written in that. That's why our constitution must be rewritten.
Are you saying that the current constitution,
yes,
of course, there has been a number of calls
yes,
that before the general election,
yes,
the current constitution be
yes,
abolished,
yes,
and another one be created? Do you think there is, looking at the time frame,
yes,
a number of people have been asked on
yes,
this platform that looking at the time frame,
yes,
can we produce in the next 6 months or so, election will take place? Can we use 6 months to write and create another constitution? And do you think, as the head of this directorate, would you call for if you don't change constitution, we will not vote?
You just use the right word, abolished. You can't amend a lie. You saw all the halu-balu about constitutional amendment, which is still going on. It's a fraud. You can't amend a lie. I want to ask you, Nigeria has 36 states. Who created 36 states for Nigeria? Is it us? Nigerian constitution started by saying, we the people of Nigeria. Is that true? Is it us? You have 774 local governments. Who created them? Is it us? These things were done by military fiat. Have you forgotten that Nigeria, the last time Nigeria was sane, the last time Nigeria was right, was 1966. In 1966, there was a coup that suspended the negotiated, Nigeria was a negotiated country. 3 regions. And the military came in 1966, suspended that constitution that gave birth to Nigeria. The late Femi Emmanuel, the Sadana of Sokoto, the Nnamdi Azikiwe. Those were the fathers that negotiated this country. And Nigeria was to be a federal system. But when the military came, they suspended the federal system. That made it a unitary system. What you have as a constitution now is the military decree, the unitary system, that gave the country 36 states and gave 19 to the north, and left the remaining for the other region to share. Gave about 3/4 of the local government of Nigeria to the north, and left the others for us to share. And the federal character came in. There is no law you can change in this present National Assembly if it is not pro-north. It's not possible. You hear them say, okay, you want restructuring, your representatives are in the National Assembly, send it to them. They know nothing can pass in that National Assembly because they have the 3/4. They have the majority. Who did that? So that is why this present constitution must be jettisoned. I fully align with that legal luminary, say, look, put something together in the interim. We still have a year, for goodness sake. We can do a lot within a year.
You also made that call 2021. Don't you? Why is it flying? Why is it that it's all the time that election is coming,
Yes.
for that
Yes.
Chief
Afeabalola
would be making such statement. He made a statement. So
don't forget
2021
that
and now he's making
Afeabalola
such
has been
again.
part of it all. He's a legal luminary, and we can say #1 legal officer of Nigeria. He sees it, and he's in late 80s. He knows what he's talking about. Because if you keep voting or doing anything based on this present lie called constitution, you are not going to get it right. So that is why he's saying we better return to where we were in 1966 before we were distracted. The military came, and don't forget, the military were on us for 33 years. So they consolidated the lie. I don't know where you are from in Nigeria, but if your son did WAEC and score all the credits, he does not stand any chance. Somebody who could not pass primary 6 from the north gets in there before him. They brought all kinds of quota system, all kinds of slowing down the entire country so that this other region can catch up, and they are not ready to go anywhere. I want to say to you, without being sounding immodest, all the banditry you have in Nigeria today, where did they come from? The bandits today were the Almangeris of yesterday, who did not go to school. And they have grown from begging with plastic by the roadside to have become adults who are now bandits. And new Almangeris are being raised. So where are you going from there? Where are you going from there?
There is a particular Christian president in this country.
Yes.
Some time ago,
Yes.
who
did everything to try and educate. But
to educate
did this succeed? It did not succeed. You know, they practice oligarchy, which means there are key leaders on top that deliberately make sure that the downtrodden are not educated, so that they can get them to use for political expediency. The thing is backfiring now. You can see that those small boys begging with plastics had become bandits. And unfortunately for you and I, they are being transported down to the south. So that tells you where we are going. Nigeria's situation is very frightening. Except the church will. I just believe that for God to have given the church this massive followership, Redeemed Christian Church of God alone has over 47,000 parishes, over 11 million members. Winners alone has over 30,000. I have not come to Gospel Faith Mission. I have not come to Deeper Life. I have not come to Chosen. I have not come to MFM. I'm just talking about the big one. I have not come to people like us too, who also have our own. Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria alone has 65 million members. How many people vote presidency into power? So I see Nigerian problem allowed by the church, because the church is a giant in slumber. God has answered our prayers. He has given us people. God is not going to come and become the ward chairman and become the ward secretary, the 10 officers from each ward that must be the delegate to choose the candidate. God's not coming to do that. It's like you having grown-up daughters in your house. You have all the ingredients in the kitchen, in the refrigerator, all the cooking, and the guy, 200 levels in the university is still crying, I am hungry. But the whole thing is in the kitchen. Cook it and eat. God has given us Nigeria. There is no country in the world that have the massive church membership that is available in Nigeria. Those church organizations that I have mentioned, there is no church like that on the universe. That is the answer to the prayers we have prayed. So further prayers, God save Nigeria, God deliver Nigeria, is a prayer in ignorance. Our prayer should be, God, wake us up to our responsibility and back us up so that we can. Nigeria has to be restructured without war.
You just mentioned now that Christian in Nigeria, there are about 65 million.
PFN alone.
PFN alone.
I have not come to talk about the evangelicals.
These 65 billion people.
Yes.
And I know that the 65 million,
yes,
perhaps you have toddlers, young
yes,
people.
Yes.
Let's say 1 million of them.
Yes.
2 million.
Yes.
Let's say we have 60 million eligible.
Call it 50 million.
Or 50 million. Now, what is the tangible preparedness of these 50 million people to ensure good governance and godly governance content?
That is exactly the work of the DPG. That is what the PFN is trying to do. We are just talking about PFN. PFN is only a block. of the 5 blocks of Kanjifa, half a block. But the grace and the beauty of the Pentecostal is that we are more aggressive. More than that, our members follow us like devotees. They take what we say. It is Pentecostal that call their pastors daddies and papas and GOs. They follow us. They do whatever we ask them to say. I have not brought in the evangelicals. I have not brought in the Orthodox churches, the Anglican, the Baptist, the Methodist. I have not brought in the Catholic. That is also another massive numbers. But I'm talking about Pentecostals that are easy to mobilize. Pentecostals that will do whatever their pastor asks them to say. That's why I'm just mentioning that. So even if we say we are 65 million, let's say we are even 40 million. How many million people? How many people? Buhari is in power today with 50 million votes. Atiku, the other person, has 11 million. That's 26. We are talking about 65 million. Without bringing other, and then there are patriotic Nigerians from other faiths that just love Nigeria and want Nigeria. There are good people in Nigeria. There are patriotic Nigerians, even non-Christians, that want Nigeria's right. Like I said, the platform for their emergence is not there. It is that platform we want to create, so that anyone that has good intention, anyone that is cerebral, anyone that can fix that, can have a platform. Look, if you want to be a counselor today, you must know the godfather in your council who will allow you, and he won't allow you because he already have people in waiting. So whichever way you look at it, except the good people will rise up, these 65 million, whatever million of people, is what DPG is working on for us to wake up. 65 million, 80 million inactive, sleeping is useless.
What's the synergy or the relationship between PFN, CAN, and other blocks? Because one could say that if there is no a united force,
yes,
the sanity and the good governance that we're looking at can never be achieved. Yeah. So what's the relationship, and what are you doing to put these blocks together?
Like I told you, PFN is just one block of the 5 blocks. We have good relationship. One of the 10 visions that God gave, that the president of the PFN, His Eminence Bishop Wale Oke, I am heading the DPG. There's also somebody who is heading that unification, that rapport, working on the other blocks, working there. That is also going on. The reason we mention Pentecostals, like I've told you, we are the most aggressive. You can see the growth. We are the most easy to mobilize because we submit to our pastors more than any other arm you can talk about. I mean, I'm a general overseer of a church with regional pastors, with state pastors. Whatever we want to pass, whatever message I want to pass across to my church, all I needed to do is to call my state pastors, pass the message, and within 24 hours, the thing is done. The same thing with Gospel Faith Mission, the same thing with Redeem, the same thing with Winners. No, so we are easy, we are structured. The church is so well structured. What the church lacks is this understanding of involvement. Until the church is involved, we can pray till eternity. It will not change anything.
Okay, talking about the issue of involvement.
Yes.
People whom you want to get involved,
yes,
they are calling on the leadership of PFN, CAN, another block, and church leader,
yes,
to flag up a political party as a means to restore the expected sanity in governance in Nigeria. I throw that to you. What can't we flag up, or can't the church flag up a political party, say Christian political party?
No, no. You can't flag up any political party and make impact. Now, there are 2 dominant political parties in Nigeria: APC, PDP. In Anambra, you have ABGA, which is just a localized
thing. Anambra is making wave in that set.
In that area. Because it is more of a tribal something. You can't flag, a lot of people have asked me these questions. No, you know, in the DPG structure, right now as we speak, the entire country has been structured by DPG. We have 36 state directors. We have 774 local government directors. They are working down the line to have the 8,080 ward directors. Nigeria is run by 36 states, 774 local government, 8,080 wards. And we have that structure. What we are working on now is the officer of church in politics to mobilize adult members of each assembly or each parish, to use redeemed language, or each assembly to start meeting at the ward level so that we can join a dominant party. You can't float a new party and win. Because politics is a way of life. It's an ideology. It does not matter what to do, those who will not vote. Nigerians, there is serious voter party in Nigeria. Nigerians don't vote because of, you know, trust deficit. Nigeria has lost interest in their government and governance. The church is worse. Now, look at United Kingdom, for instance. There are many other political parties in UK, apart from the Labour Party and the other party. What is the name of the other party? What do you call it? I'll remember. No, that is in America. There are many other political parties in America, not just the Republican and the Democrat and the Democrats. Yes. So, and in UK, you have the other two parties. There are several other parties, but you can see that for decades, for centuries, it is these two political parties that will always produce the prime minister or the president. You can't float any new party now, except if the two major parties we have now will implode, which we pray. Except if there will be something that will break up PDP, APC, and the fractions come together, because it is the same people that vote that continue to vote. I have seen people argue and say, look, in the last 4 years that we last voted, some people had grown from up to 18. They were not 18 then, they were 14, they were 15. Today they are 18 years, they are qualified to vote. Will they vote? People don't vote. There are serious voter parties. But there are those who are incurable voters. They are already in the two parties. So if you want to make any inroad, the DPG strategy is that we join the dominant party in our area. And you are not going to join the political party as a gospel faith mission, or as Redeemite, or as Winner, or as Living Spring Chapel. No, you are joining as ordinary citizens living in the world. You are carrying out your social responsibility as a citizen of the country, but you know where you belong. Like I said, political parties are in caucuses. So the idea of can't we float a new political party won't work. I look at several new political parties. They come to me. I say, please don't just waste your time. Don't waste your money. I mean, look at the last 2019. Sorry to mention him here. You saw Duro Toye, you saw Mogalu, you saw Showere, you saw their massive followership on social media. Election is not win on social media. The three of them couldn't win 80,000 votes with all the massive social media followership. Those who vote in Nigeria are the peasants, the market women, the bicycle repairers, the tailors, all this association of Alata, Ilewedu. Those are the people that vote. Do you know, I did politics in Ibadan during the time of the strong man of Ibadan politics, the late Chief Alhaji Lamidi Adedibu. You know, those are veterans in politics. And those days I would say to him, we were in SDP, Alhaji, people are talking. Television people, they are mentioning your name. They say you are hooligan, they say you are thug, they say... he said to me, Femi, those who vote don't read newspapers. Those who read newspapers don't vote. So I can also say now with confidence, those who vote are not on social media. Those on social media don't vote. So voters are known, market women, ordinary people. Those are the people politicians go for. So any idea of floating a new political party won't work.
All right, let's talking about.
I was trying to remember the conservative.
Okay,
In Britain, you have the conservative and the Labour. In America, you have the Republican and the Democratic.
Okay, let me try to you as we coast home. What are the physical dimensions that are required to turn the tide that is threatening to consume Nigeria?
The physical dimension is for Nigerians to wake up and get involved in the grassroots politics, get involved in the world politics in overwhelming numbers, and let there be good Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians, Nigerians that will not sell their conscience, sell their vote, that will elect world officers. World officers are the delegates. Delegates are the power in politics that determine credible people to vote for. Nigeria can be changed in 5-10 years. You have the right leadership. But right leadership will never match with the present system of political warlords, political party owners, dictating who you vote for. Right leader will never come. Quote me. If you do it 10 or 100 times, look, 2023, you are going to be voting for the same people. Look at them. Look at those that are throwing themselves up as candidates. They are either serving senators, former senators, serving governors, former governors. They are those who have stolen Nigeria blind. They are those who have stolen it in billions. We just spoke about buying delegates now. We must have delegates that are not buyable. Delegates that will not take anything except to put the right person there. The right person will be the person we, the ordinary people, dictate to them. Because these political people, they are putting themselves there. In 2023, you are going to be voting for the same people. The same people who stole us, who brought this country down, are still the same candidate. So we are going nowhere. It's going to be worse.
It's been an exciting time speaking with you today. Of course, it's still politics spotlight, and it has been Pastor Femi Emmanuel, the pioneering national Directorate of Politics and Governance, and is also the General Overseer Living Spring Chapel International. As we coast home, what is your take home? What do you want? What's your message for your Christian followership? What do you have to tell them as a coast home? Then, on the second note, do we have a political? Do we have someone whom, among the presidential candidates, that the church can give directive to say, vote for this?
Well, as we coast home, my call to every Christian, first of all to general overseers, because you see, church members are imprisoned. They only do whatever their general overseer asks them to do. So my call to general overseers like myself is to please understand the message of the DPG, align with the DPG. Every church organization should do what Redeemed Christian Church of God had done, which First Choir Gospel Church had done, which TREM had done, which we are calling all the other general overseers to do. Establish the Directorate of Politics and Governance in your organization and take it down to the last line, so that we can have Christians join at the world level, prepare them, train them to be at the party world meetings and take over the governance from that level. But that is where the power is. That is my first call. And let all Christians be ready to be involved. Let nobody sit on the fence. Let nobody say, we are praying, we are winning soul, Jesus will take over, let's leave it to God. Let's not spiritualize these things. There are two sides to every issue in life, the physical and the spiritual. A student does not pray without reading and preparing for the exam. A trader or businessman does not pray without doing what it takes for the business to thrive. Why, for goodness sake? When it comes to governance, we just pray and leave the rest to God. It is ignorance, it is blindness. That's number one. Talking about of all the political
presidential candidate
throwing themselves up, I see none. None. Because the system that produced them, he who pays the pipers dictates it too.
Yeah.
The system that produced them is corrupted, is hijacked, is bastardized, is demonized. So there is no credible candidate coming up. That's why I cry for Nigeria, except we do something quick. First of all, fix Nigeria, refix Nigeria. Nigeria is a fraud. I just told you now, who gave you 36 states? Who gave you 774 local government? Who gave you 3/4 seat in the National Assembly to the North? So as long as that continues, nothing passes, my brother.
Thank you so much. As that continues, nothing passes. We want to thank you for joining us on the show today. It's been our own leader and the National Directorate of Politics and Government. On this, we're going to end the show today. God bless Nigeria.